Hello everyone and welcome to the final episode of Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Hope you've enjoyed this Let's Play so far. I'm your host Kayla Hiwatari, and today we are going to finish the final case and finish off the game. So we're going to get into the last half of the trial, or last part of the trial, and then we'll continue with the epilogue and credits. February 25th, 2:21 p.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 9. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? Oh, this is such a long case. Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But, Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Gaunt. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gaunt. The fabrication. I worked alongside Gaunt for years. There's no truth to this blackmail fury. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dart convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course, I'm sure. But Lana, if this is true, then that means Chief Gaunt has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah. This is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Oh, Gaunt and the fabrication. Okay. This is the statement I want. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana, so that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago? You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived on the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean, Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planting it inside the wound, then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the wound? And then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of the others. Why did you plant the knife? Why did you move the body? Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gaunt's office. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Pieces of the jar? You mean... Yes, that wretched jar Mr. Wright showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was all ready. Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. I see. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. So you rearranged the crime scene? Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it alone. I've got to get Lana to tell more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Alright, we are going to use the jar on this statement. I think.
Objection!
Yep, that was it. Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been useless. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on that jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on that jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regards to the jar and the bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical. Chief Prosecutor. It seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. Jar and message in blood. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room, and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Okay, well this one's easy. I'm going to use the jar again. At least I think this one's easy. Here we go. Yep, that one was easy. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gaunt's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gaunt got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that! There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gaunt at the time he was looking for Dark downstairs, and the question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Trail here. Spelling error. Damon Gaunt arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication. But why would Chief Gaunt do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gaunt's aid. Lending her his aid, Gaunt helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And here is the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet. No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer any more for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you. Emma, you didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gaunt's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana, maybe Wright after all. What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Skye, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. All right. The witness may testify once more for the final time. Actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gaunt help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable! The body was impaled on the armor's sword? You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright, please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Okay. So it's in the book that we were given by her. There it is. Hey, there's a picture here. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. no other detective saw the crime scene like this. That's because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I rearranged the scene. Lana's picture inserted in the court record. Ah! Mr. Wright! That piece cut out from his vest, could that be? The cloth we found inside Chief Gaunt's safe. What's this? It's a handprint. That cloth had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints... They're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Hold it. Oh, Gaunt's back. Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gaunt? What, now you want to make me out to be the bad guy, If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined testimony. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be the risk the judge was talking about. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Gah! Ah! Worthy. Ah, so what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you. But I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean... You still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone... So then, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? This one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? No, we cannot show the evidence. Do not show it now, because it goes against the evidence law rules, and if you show it now, it will be game over, I do believe. So, don't show it now. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie. Chief Gaunt? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gaunt? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut off for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her? I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When we rearranged the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. I did this before Lana arrived at the scene. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? Who do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on the jar, too? Ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gaunt. That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then, before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Show evidence. Okay, now it's time to show it. Now that he's admitted to it, and it's been approved. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
Take that!
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At last, you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean... It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. You're as slow as the uptake as ever, Mr. Worthy. What? Think about it. Wright had all the time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whom these fingerprints belong to is Emma Skye.
Take that!
Emma Skye? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma, but why? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, you're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along? And you still tried to pin the murder on me? So it's true, tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Hold it! How could you? You monster! Miss Skye. You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted as like she really didn't? Miss Skye, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. Oh, yeah? You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter, cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gaunt, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. But Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gaunt, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Probably the photo.
Take that!
What exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all this blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of the wound. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it. Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gaunt, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword. Ugh. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Then he broke the jar on purpose to leave behind a clue and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago, that you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finished. Objection. That was close, Wright. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refuse your allegations. What do you mean? You refuse his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Oh, that's what you think. Order, order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Udgy, earlier old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Did you actually think you could beat me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gaunt's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did. Not. No, if I admit to that, all my planning will have been for nothing. Oops, I got a strike for that. Certainly, I refuse to present evidence at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal. No, it isn't, Mr. Gaunt. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Edgy, don't listen to him. To his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't trust him. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence illegal or not? Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. And we have our evidence book from Miss Sky. Explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Check for more details. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this victim and... Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gaunt. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gaunt. The killer was you. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, and he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he had to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He told me to open up the evidence room and take it out. It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall. Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. I had a bad feeling about it, but never knew it would come to this. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. You would only increase the amount of blood, and you couldn't finish what you started. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in. See what I was doing. I was worried so much about the floor, I didn't realize my mistake. Detective Gumshoe's bloody handprint. I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car. I'm sorry, we couldn't think of any other way to move the body. We broke the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pull down a lot more than us detectives. That was my car. What does this have to do with anything? You're horrible. How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did. If the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I feel bad for having to do it. I couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take. Well, you left the jar fragment and gloves. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, what are you doing in court? Me. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Edgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gaunt. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Edgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Wright here, and Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. You see, if I listen carefully, I can hear it right now. The sound of a new beginning. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gaunt betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gaunt help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright, Miss Sky, and to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. The trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, not guilty. That is all. The court is adjourned. February 25th, 5:03 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended, I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well. You know, I did my best too. But Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Ah, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh. Are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this, detective? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago. Was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked God to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy. Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma! Aw, sisterly hug. So cute. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our path. And once we've found our path, we can move on from our past mistakes towards a brighter future. At least that's what I felt, looking at those two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't change my own mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gaunt was right. You despise criminals, I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. It's scary, but I've been thinking the same thing for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gaunt did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gaunt and your mentor Manfred von Karma were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime alone, one needs a weapon. That may be right, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. I wasn't. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Me? Oh, yeah, sure. What is this, a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own? Oh, there it goes. Well, that would be a certain picture. That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me. There are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember. What happened in this trial can either make or break you as a prosecutor. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, Wright. But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell, Wright. I'd better be getting back too. Okay, I'll come visit you soon. It seems like both of us still have a lot to learn. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail just yet. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Uh-huh. Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to break her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side in you. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who'll be footing the bill, because I never have any money. What? Huh? Don't you? What, you think I could afford that with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Edgeworth keeps cutting it all the time on me. What? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Since we're all here, why don't we all go together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys, let's go. I don't know where my button is. There we go. And that's all for the game. Time for the credits to roll. Oh, they're rolling on the other screen. That makes sense. As for me, this affair's pretty much ended. Still, I'd managed to find my way back. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Sorry I missed a bit of that due to switching screens for the credits. Yikes, I thought I was a goner for a moment there in the end, pal. They overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. No penalizes were made. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show. You can't shake me off that easily. So, yeah, Gumshoe is still instated. He did not actually get fired, which is nice. So we all love Detective Gumshoe. Not gonna read these credits, they go too fast for me. My new mission is to guard the main entrance of the police department. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on my entrance for me. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm going to make detective. Yes, sir, then I can be just like the Dick Gumshoe. There's a lot more people that worked on this game than the other one. There's the dancing blue badger. Such an annoying creature. He will be coming back in later games. It fell over. I guess its batteries must have died. Finally. What is it? Can't you see him trying to have a showdown with a steak? Well, cowboy, it looks like you did it. You even gave Bombina back her sister. Like I said, it's a little hard for me to read the credits because they're kind of fast. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Yeah, so that's the end. Credits rolling. Seeing everyone, what they're all up to. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing something or other for how many now? Well, oh, no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. Well, I hope you liked this Let's Play, reading, dub, whatever you'd like to call it, of the first Ace Attorney game. Yes, this shows many more credits than before. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing about Nick. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. My afternoon's training is about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick. That was a little guest cameo of a character that we shall be seeing in the second game. Who has a connection to Maya. Edgeworth's office. Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, Edgeworth. How brought you your tea. What's this? What's going on? There's a letter. Which, that letter will also be explained in the second game. Phoenix is not very happy about it, though. And Emma, thanks for coming to see me. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Now you get to open the book with her. Just spin it around. And open it. And there's something inside. It's a nice picture of the two of them. Oh, there we go. I had the wrong screen on. It's hard to know which screen they want you to use. And there we have it. The end. Game by Capcom. So yeah, that's it for the first Ace Attorney game. Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And that you liked my rendition. I'm not sure which game I'll be doing next of the series, because I'd like to know what your guys' opinion is on which one you want to see me do next for the series. Any of the DS ones will do. I'd say I could do Justice for All or Investigations, maybe, but it's really up to you guys, whichever you'd like to see. And, thanks for watching and staying with me through this entire Let's Play, this very long Let's Play. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you enjoying the next project that I'll be doing when I start working on it. So thanks everyone for watching.